Hey everybody, good morning. Hi Joanna.
Hi, Jackson.
How's it going?
Fine. Okay,
Oh,
so Jackson, you're gonna monitor the chat, yeah?
yes, I will be here supporting. You want me to introduce myself at all, Joanna, or you got a slide for that?
I have a slide for that, but if you wanna introduce yourself first, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Hi everybody. I'm Jackson. I'm here mostly just to support Joanna today in this awesome session she's created. I work for Adobe now, but I used to teach 10th and 11th grade history in the South Bay. So I love hopping into classrooms. I live in the inner Richmond now in San Francisco. So I've been fortunate enough over the past year to hop into some classes, including Joanna's fourth graders, to see some of the magic they've created with Adobe Express. So really excited to support this PD today, and I'll monitor the chat.
Okay, before I start, are there any interpreters here so that I can pin you? Yes or no? Okay, so if not, I'm gonna start. Okay, so you're in the session for making movies with students using Adobe Express. Um, in case you haven't signed in, and if you're not sure how to get paid, you can check out this slide. I'm not sure why some of it disappeared. Okay, so about me. So I actually taught at Chinese Education Center for 13 years. So I worked with newcomers, English language learners, and just like Jackson said, I now teach fourth grade. Um, I also have two kids, so one in elementary and one in high school. And if you're wondering, oh, is making movies hard? I actually had my daughter making it in first grade. So and I've only started making movies in 2019. So it's not like I've been doing this like a long time. So you can easily try some of these. So for Adobe support, so Jackson and Lindsay, so Lindsay actually used to work at SFUSD. So both of them, if you need any support, like last year, my class could not get into Adobe and they both came in and were really helpful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made any of the movies that I made last year. Okay, so why making movies? So obviously it's fun. It's gonna motivate your students. They actually practice a lot of important skills. It's great for portfolios. So the families, every year that I've done it, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for showing me their work, because it's like they're completely different on stage. Like some students that never talked, suddenly they're like playing a role, and yeah, so they learn a lot. It's project-based learning, which we heard in the keynote is really good. Okay. Options. So you're like, well, what if my parents don't agree that my kids can be on YouTube or whatever? So there's actually different things. So this is the year that was distance learning, and none of my kids were on it. They drew pictures and we did narration, and that became our Newberry movie. And you can also do drawings, claymation, puppets, stop motion. Obviously, some of them are going to be a lot harder. So I'm going to show you some easy ways where it's they could be teaching something and all they're doing is narrating. So what do you need? If you're doing a Newberry movie, then obviously you need a book. They're going to write the script. Or if you're like, that's too complicated for my kids because we're doing kindergartners, you can actually just do readers theater and it also works. You obviously need an iPad or some device for filming. Props and costumes are gonna make it really fun. And obviously Adobe Express. If you're in SF Unified, you're already getting free Adobe Express. So I'm going to show you this movie we made last year. It's a whole class did it. And you'll notice that everyone had a part, whether or not.
I want to learn to use the Force. Find me a Jedi Master. Okay. Where are the Jedi Masters? They are so far away. Ow, my back. I am looking for Jedi Masters. We are Jedi Masters. Come with me. We are Jedi Masters. We can jump really high. Come with me. We are Jedi Masters. We can swim very fast. We are Jedi Masters. We can fly in the air. Before long, the old man had a million Jedi Masters following him home. Why are there so many Jedi Masters? Each Jedi Master is good at something different. Our little house isn't big enough for all of them. I'm sorry. We can only accept the best Jedi Master. They are the best. They can fly. They are the best. They could jump very high. They are the best. They could swim very fast. We cannot teach you. We can only guide you. Your patience will achieve more than your force. What is all that racket? The Jedi are building something. It must be a Jedi temple. No, it's a school. To teach. To learn the ways of the Force. Who's the teacher? Everyone!
In learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn.
But teaching is a great way to keep learning. Much to learn, you still have my Padawan. This is just like a joke.
It looks like it's based on the Newbery book, Millions of Cats. So that's kind of sure book. And you notice there are a few stuffed animals. Those students didn't sign the waiver, so they couldn't be in it. However, after doing it, they actually signed the waiver and we made like 6 more movies and they were in it. So out of my whole class, eventually only one kid did not sign the waiver. She still helped make the movie, she just couldn't be in it. Now you're wondering, well, that's a class of students who can speak English. Well, the year before I had some students who couldn't speak English. So they were actually 2 newcomers who came from the newcomer. And they actually, I put them in a group of 2. The 2 newcomers all by themselves because everyone else read a Newbery book and they couldn't. So I gave them Frog and Toad, which they couldn't read. So I gave them the read aloud and they listened to the story. One student didn't sign the waiver, actually returned it back saying no, she couldn't be in a movie. So I assigned her to this group. She wrote the script or helped write the script. And this boy in the back, he's actually in another group, but he was one of my troublemakers. He couldn't sit still. But I decided to put him in this movie and he had a blast and he helped out with this group of 2 newcomers, and let's see what happened.
Today is a busy day. Let's make up last Toad.
Oops, my Wi-Fi is not working.
Here's my bag, Frog. Where's yours? Here's my bag. Let's go shopping. Here's the apples. Here is the white tissue. Here's the face mask. Here's the hand sanitizer. Ha ha ha! You can't kill me without a list. Where's my list? Who took my list? Give back my list! Ah! I'm dying! We're ready to fight the COVID.
So you actually heard a lot of clicking. That was because they could only record literally one sentence each time, because their English, they couldn't remember the lines long enough. So there was like, read a sentence, click, read a sentence, click. So they managed to make it, and she actually was so good. She ended up being extra in someone else's movie. She didn't really have a long line. Her line was something like, I think it was in Turtle in Paradise, and she was the angry boss that didn't like kids. So she was like chasing the other kid down the hallway yelling, I don't like kids. Or yeah. So she ended up improving her English a lot just because she liked making movies so much. So how do you make a movie? You need an idea, you need a script, you need to film the scenes, and you need to edit it. So reading a book is an easy one. You could also have them narrate a presentation they already made in Google Slides. You could have them make a movie for something you learned. You could create an interview or a public service announcement. So at my school, the principal, they would do a Panda announcement. So at the end of the school year, we ended up making some summer Panda announcements about reading during the summer, exercising, going to museums. When you're writing the script, don't think that, oh, it will be easy. The first year I made the movie, we started out writing it together, and I gave up. I wrote the entire script, and all we did was film. And then as the years went along, I kind of got better at it. And what I now do is we only write the first scene together, and then the rest of the students write the rest of the scenes. So using I do, we do, you do. So they wrote them in groups. So each group wrote a different scene. Other things you might want to think about is think about somebody wanted but so then. So they need to know what the plot of the story is. Later on, I'll share a resource where one group in 1 year, when they made the plot, they filmed it, we finished it, and the whole class watched it and was like, what is your movie about? We don't know, because they actually didn't put in the plot. And we then had to rewrite the whole thing, refilm everything. And I now have an example of what is a plot and what isn't a plot using the exact same book. So if they make mistakes, go ahead, let them make the mistakes, because they actually learn so much more from the mistakes. Dialogue. When we first started writing the script, all the kids kept writing really long summaries. They did this. And I'm like, you can't go on to you can't film and go, oh, we went over here, we went over there. You actually have to have dialogue. So which is good, because they actually learned how to include dialogue in their story writing later on. You also need action. The other thing they made a big mistake on is they had two people sitting here talking, and then they filmed the two of them sitting there talking, and they did nothing. But it's actually good to let them do it. Film it, show the class, and ask what's happening after you turn off the sound. They'll be like just staring at two people talking, and it's very boring. Okay, settings. They also had trouble with settings. So we filmed, I think, Hoot, and you need to go to a golf course. And they were struggling. I'm like, we're not going to a golf course. And I asked them what at school might be someplace better. So we obviously went to the yard, and they filmed it there, and they changed it to getting hit by a ball instead of a golf ball. So it's actually really good for getting them to think outside the box. Including a twist. So obviously, if we were gonna go and make millions of cats, I don't have a million cats. So we made a twist and changed it to Jedi. And they all were so excited because I had them all bring in stuffed animals. And yes, anything with stuffed animals is good. So think of your available resources. So think of props. So we actually had one lightsaber. I asked the kids to bring in their lightsabers. A whole bunch of people raised their hands, but on the day of, only one kid brought in a lightsaber. So in every single scene, that was the exact same lightsaber in every single scene. And the kids loved it because they knew the secret. No one else figured it out. But when we did our film festival and the other students in the school asked about it, they're like, it's the exact same lightsaber in every single scene. Yeah, so they kind of like had a blast. Yeah. Filming the scene. So you have to decide on roles. You also need a camera person because I'm not going to go film 6 different groups all at the same time. So they're going to have to learn how to film it. They need a director. It doesn't necessarily need to be one director. They can take turns being director. Whoever is not in the scene actually can be the director. Actors, actress, extras. So they're going to be like, there's 5 people in my group, but we have 7 characters. So what happened is the main actors and actress, they're going to be from that group. Extras are like minor characters that show up for maybe 1 or 2 scenes or just need to be there. So they would get it from other groups. So, and you can see who either doesn't have a big role in another group or is free, they get to be the extra. Same thing with camera person. If their group was small, then you can ask someone else to be a camera person. They do need to rehearse the lines. They kind of found that out later on that, no, you can't just suddenly go up and start doing it because so-and-so forgot their line. So they do need to rehearse. You can let them know. It doesn't have to be exactly. So they just need to get whatever idea across. They don't need to, oh, I forgot that one word. No. So just get the line across. Include action. Like I said, you don't want to film 2 people staring at each other, moving their mouth. That's very boring. Add action. And include different camera shots. So the scenes where the camera is moving, following the characters is a lot more interesting than the one where the camera just stays still. And you want to cut. So if they are doing dialogue, you want them to film each person close up talking because then they can show facial expression and feelings. Editing. So editing software, the Adobe Express this year is so much better than last year. So last year there were like so many things that didn't work, but later on I'm gonna share with you some really cool effects that you can now do and put into your movie. Obviously add title and credits. And because of COVID, they were wearing masks. You want to be able to dub over so that you can hear what they're saying. And it also helped that if you're wearing a mask and they decide to suddenly change the dialogue, you can still use the exact same footage and just change the lines because since it's behind the mask, nobody knew what they were saying to begin with. Then share your movies and let the students give feedback on the movie and make adjustments as needed. So obviously you'll never get to a perfect movie, but you can always improve your movie. So obviously like maybe the cutting wasn't weird, or one thing they noticed was, there seems to be a missing scene somewhere that could better connect one scene to the next. Other ideas, you can make your movie in another language. So if we have time later on, I can show you the Invisible Boy that we made in Cantonese, like not last year, but the year before. Also, every year I have the students do a presentation about how long it takes to decompose. So last year I just had them record and narrate it. You could also have them make a movie to teach a how-to skill. I think in the keynote, they were talking about teach how they solve the math problem. So that could be a movie. They could also recommend a book. So this one, I had my daughter have a puppet and she's like recommending why Cat Wad is a good book to read. Extension ideas. So after you're done with the movie, you can actually do more. I had the students interview each other about the movie making experience. That part was so. Next year, I'm going to make it even better. Let's say, They could also present their movie to another class. So last year we presented to the whole school and we invited different classes over and they they got to answer questions about the movie making experience. They could also make a movie with their family and friends. So after you teach it to them, they could try interviewing a family member, going home and making a short movie. They could make an alternative ending to their movie. So movie ending number 1, movie ending number 2, making a public service announcement. And like I said, you could do a film festival. Resources. So I started making the movies because of the 90-second Newbery movie contest. So if you're interested in doing that, that's a great incentive for getting them to read reading a Newbery book, any Newbery book. This one is also from the 90-second Newbery website and this as well. So if you're like, I don't know what's a Newbery book, this is a list from every single one that won and was an honor book. So you could choose it from there. You can also go there to see other movies made by other students. If you need blank storybook templates, so if you feel like I need something to help me, you can look at that. Interview questions. I think this is a Google Doc where last year all the students typed up all their questions in a Google Doc and they then chose 3 of the questions they wanted to answer. This one is student-made movies. So these are the movies made from by my students. It's only, let's see, it has all the movies we made. These are the movie reviews. If you send it to 90-second Newbery, to the Newbery contest, the person will actually write a review. I just need to add the reviews from last year's class. So which movie did you guys watch? You guys watched Millions of Jedi. So if I come here, you can now see it's actually on a public web page where they can then share with their family and friends. And down here, there's actually judges' remarks. So it's not just me telling them that it was good. They're getting it from a judge that's telling them that they did a really good job. So that makes it like really authentic to them because it's not just their teachers and their classmates saying it, like everyone gets to see it.
That's so awesome. Joanna, do you mind if I ask a question? Are the Newbery, is that contest limited to like certain grade levels or could anyone?
No, they
submit?
just need to be students.
Okay.
So here about the contest. You can also give parent help, but it should be like, or adult help, but it should be young filmmakers. So right here, anyone under 18. So this is good for K all the way to 12th grade. So, and if you're like, let's see. So if you're interested in submitting a video, the deadline's usually in January, although they usually extend it because every year I never finish it in January anyways. Best videos. So if you're like, you want to show them examples of videos that other students made, or like if you read a book with your students and you don't want to make the video, but you want to see it. So if you read A Wrinkle in Time, then you're like, here, this is what someone else did. And then you could also see if they want to do it. So these are some of the better ones. You could also find a video. So let's see. So these are all of the ones. So when you trap a tiger. So if you're looking for a particular one. So New Kid. So so this is the one that my students made, but then you could also have them compare it to what other students made on the same book. So they could also do that. Yeah. And then so here's some Panda announcements that they made. Let's see. And then book reviews. So I also had some of them. Oh, idiom movies. So I'll show you that at the end and if there's time. So now we're gonna actually all log into Adobe Express and try to make one. So you're going to new.express.adobe.com. And then if you're in the district, it should already be in there, but I don't know if it's live right now. The last time I checked, it didn't work. But yeah, but you could use new.express.adobe.com. And that one's going to include this part of it. So I made one using Animate from audio video. What are we going to learn to do today?
Hi, my name is Avocado. Today we're gonna make a good movie.
So that's my daughter's voice. Let's see. So
That is amazing.
okay, so I'm going to share some of the tools and then we're going to test it out. So one of the really cool things they have creative challenges. However, if you're like me, you never could find any of them because I never could remember the web page. But right now, what they did was they added it to over here. So if you're logging in and you see educator resources, you can now find all the creative challenges without having to remember where it was. What I just did at first was from Animate from audio, which we're going to try out. So this one right here. The other cool feature is remove the background. They didn't let you do that with the video before, but now they do. So now you actually don't need a green screen and you should be able to remove the background and put in anything you want. And then there's free templates. So over here is just a screenshot of a few of them. So if you're like, I don't want to come up with the whole lesson, what you do is you could do an about me video and it's literally choose and replace different aspects of it. So if you did Adobe Express before with like either the poster or infographic or any of the other ones, it was literally just click on it and replace it with yours. And now they're doing that with the video. Okay, so is everyone ready to actually go in and try? So here's 3 movies you can either test out, or we're gonna also try the Animate from audio. So if you want to do the 3 vocab movies, so if you were in my last session, I told you you could do a 3 vocab comic. And what you do is you just give your students 3 vocabulary words. And what I did was you could give them a list of, these are from, so let's say I give you a list of nouns. Let's see, popcorn, dog, phone, kid, book, shoe, toy. Oh, why don't we do toilet? Okay, so what we did was, if you're like teaching like parts of speech, you can all have the kids brainstorm different animals, different anything, and stick it all in. And what you do is, if you already know this, you just click it and it will randomly choose 3 words for you. And we get toilet, or which they would love. Okay, so you remove it. So now you have toilet. And you have phone. Let's see. Okay, so now that you have the phone and dog, you're gonna now tell your students they have to come up with a story that has a toilet, a phone, and a dog. And to make it simple, you can say they only get 4 sentences or 4 parts. Or if you want to make it even easier, 3. So beginning, middle, and end. Let's see. Anyone have something? Let's see. I was talking on my phone. Let's see. The dog stole my phone. And I'm guessing you can figure out the ending. And the dog dumped my phone in the toilet. So we have technically a story there. And if you were with me in my last session, what you can do is, let's see, just put it over here. And all they have to do is, there's 3, and you would have a toilet, a phone, or toilet, no, your phone, your dog, and the toilet, and then your story. Now, after they made this, how are you going to make it into a movie? So let's go to, where did my Adobe Express disappear to? Let's see. The wrong one. Sorry, what was the thing to get in?
If you go to new.express.adobe, that should work. New.express, sorry, it's a little bit. And this should also be in Clever as well, if that's easier.
Oops. New.adobe. Oh, Express.
New.express. Yeah, I put it in the chat too. I don't know if you can see that and click the link. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay, so we're gonna now turn that into a movie somehow. So if you go, oh, this is mine. Okay, there's 2 different ways you can actually make a movie. You can either go to the plus and find video. You can actually go down here and click video. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make that one, and then we'll do the other one. So I'm going to create from scratch. So what were my 3 pictures? I think one was the phone. Let's see. Let's see if we have talking on phone. Oops. Okay, talking on phone. And I was gonna be doing some vocabulary words, so I probably want to add some text. And phone. Okay. Let's see, I want to add a new scene. So what was my second one? My dog came in. Let's see. So I'm gonna type in dog. Let's see. Okay, maybe there's too many dog pictures. Let's see. Okay, he looks good.
And while you're doing this, Joanna, I'll just explain a little bit that this is the newer version of Adobe Express, and most districts actually don't have access to this yet, but SFUSD in preparation for the new school year, we've given it access to everyone. So some of these things, like it's a little slower than we hope it will be in the next week or so as we launch. So we'll continue to improve it. But if you're seeing some things that are not ideal, then we're definitely working on them, but it's still in beta, so this isn't kind of the fully fleshed version yet.
Okay, so these were the 3 vocabulary words I was trying to teach. Okay, so now I'm gonna then add a picture of what happened. Talking on, oops. So I was talking on my phone. And what did the dog do? My dog stole my phone. So I'm not going to add the pictures because it's probably taking a while. So I'm just going to show you how they made it. Let's see. They tossed it in the toilet. Okay, so after you do that, you're going to probably have to add, let's see, the audio. Let's see, where did the audio go to? Is it under elements?
If you go to media again, and then you select audio, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to record a voiceover. He tossed it in the toilet. Oh. He tossed it in the toilet. Okay, so I'm going to just start it back here. And obviously you would add a title. You would probably have the students read all the words. So dog, toilet, and then they would read each of the sentences. So when you're done, then you could download it. So let me see. So I'm going to show you one of the ones the students made last year. Except they made it in Chinese.
熟悉题考敬圣礼，我坐在题考地前之手时，我叔要穿上我的金响亮衣裤，现在我可以做题考了。
Okay, so that's how they had 3 vocabulary words that they introduced, and then they just narrated their story. So that's one movie that you could easily do with your students. And I'm now going to show you the fun one that was, if you
Joanna,
Oh.
before we keep going, can you just show everyone, if you're logged into that link I put in the chat, you should land on this page that Joanna's showing us. And then how would you go to where you went before to either select a video template or to start from scratch?
So if you go to the plus, you can find video and whichever.
Yeah,
So-
so that has a list of kind of all of the different types of projects, which there's a ton of stuff in here, like comic strip. I think there's even a bottle cover. So whatever you can think of, there's kind of templates here. And then also, Joanna, I think you showed us you can, on this homepage, it's designed for education purposes. So we have highlighted kind of the most relevant to a classroom. So you'll see posters, flyers, presentations. This PD is obviously about videos. So if you go and hover over it, you can either start from scratch or browse templates. And Joanna's going to show us kind of if you wanted to start with something that's already made and just kind of manipulate it to whatever you're looking for. You can use a template to kind of start. So you're not having to start from square one and modify that. So there's a lot of fun kind of different types of templates here. We're improving the search, so that'll get better and better as we go. But yeah, this is a fun one. Joanna said, you know, people are often setting SMART goals at the beginning of the year. You could use a video template like this and students could narrate or just type in text of their various goals for the semester, whatever it might be. Thanks, Joanna.
So like if you play it, there's the sample that they did, and all your students would have to do is just change it up.
And then we had some good questions. I think maybe the chat, I'm not sure how to change it in Zoom, unfortunately, but the messages go straight to me. So I'll just kind of ask him on behalf of folks. But Robert asked about how you have students film their own videos. So what do they use for their cameras?
So I actually have 6 iPads in my classroom that they take turns using. But technically, if you have Chromebooks, you should be able to use the camera on the Chromebook.
Awesome. And then we had another question about access to music. So Joanna, if you go to that media again and show the audio, there's some music that's all Adobe stock. So they're free and licensed to use. Anyone can use them. And so you can add, in addition to, Joanna showed us how you can like record your voice and add that audio, but also there's music that you can just add in the background. You can adjust the volume of the music compared to like your voice. So yeah, maybe John, if you hit play, I wonder if
Music
it'll.
is added right here. So of course it didn't have music, but I just added it down here. So if you don't want it, you can just delete it. You could
Yeah,
also
so
split it. You could mute it in certain sections, like if you're, yeah, so you can also, what I recommend for the students, because one of the things they did was they added music and then you can't hear them anymore. You have to remind them they have to change the volume of the background sound to be lower than their voice. Yeah.
And then one more question before we keep going, because it's specific to the videos, but we had some questions on when you use the media release forms. Is that usually when you are going to share externally? You
Yes.
make sure to get parental permission?
So because the 90-second Newbery movie, you have to send it to the host, and he puts it up on the on an actual web page where everyone can see it. I do need to get parent permission. If it's for something that I'm only using in the classroom, then you probably don't need that. But yeah, so if you plan on sharing it outside of your classroom, it's probably a good idea to get a media release. Also, just because their face is linked with their name, you might want to get it just in case. Yeah. But for sure, if you're sharing it outside of your classroom.
Amazing, thank you. And then one last one about fading music up and down. So right now you'd have to split the clip to like adjust the volume on separate clips of the music, which isn't ideal. If you're used to like an iMovie, you can kind of adjust it as you go. But yeah, you could adjust the clip and change the volume of the second clip, for instance, to be louder than the first. But soon to come, there will be better transition. So again, since this is in beta and we're still improving it as we go, and even once it's out of beta, we will keep improving it. So that's a great question, Stephen, and that's more to come on that.
So I just split the clip right here, and then I also made it so that it's blank here. So you could actually have multiple tracks, different music, and change it up, and different volume as well. Did we want to try the animate?
Yeah, let's do it.
That was the really fun one. So if you're here, what you want to do is you just scroll down and it's under suggested quick actions, animate from audio. Maybe too many people are in there. Okay, so now you can choose, if it loads, all the cool different animations they have over here.
We might be straining your Wi-Fi with the big zoom, but looks like they'll load if you click on it. My favorite, I love the avocado one, which you showed earlier. There they go. All right.
Okay, so you could choose whichever one you want. Let's see. Now let's do a cupcake. Oh, maybe I should just skip that one.
Should load. You could probably select a background now and it'll populate as we go. If you want to put them in a different location.
So you can choose to not have a background, or you could put him in any of these. Let's see. Let's put him in a treehouse.
That's the one I was going to suggest. You read my mind. That should load shortly. I think it's usually pretty snappy, but I think we're straining the Wi-Fi a little bit.
You could also change the size. And let's see. Can I get some sprinkles? Okay, so it'll take a while to for it to actually load while it's generating. So you can kind of play around with it.
Yeah, so what's happening in the background, just to kind of like lift up the hood a little bit, is it's taking Joanna's voice, whatever she said, and it's going to use technology to actually move the lips of the cupcake and the limbs of the cupcake to kind of mock as though the cupcake is talking, but with Joanna's voice. So while it loads here, then I've seen this be really powerful, and like anytime a kid has to record something, they're very often like shy about showing their face, so they like to record with these little animations instead. And I've seen it really cool stuff in like language classes or ESL classes where the kids are practicing speaking, but they don't necessarily always want to be recording themselves like live in their physical face.
And this also bypassed the need to actually have an iPad to record video. So if I open it in Editor, I can actually add other things to him. So if for any reason you didn't like the background, you technically could remove the background here after it loads. You can also add other things to it. You could change the speed, I guess, of his talking, or you can add another scene. So different things that you could do to it that we weren't able to do to it last year.
Yeah, can we see it in action, Joanna, and see how it works with your voice?
Can I get some sprinkles? Yeah, so probably the longer it is, the longer it would take to load. So yeah.
And I noticed, Jonah, that you kind of had recorded two in the other one, like with you and your daughter. She was the avocado, and I can't remember which avatar you were. So you would just pull those both into the editor. Is that right?
So what I did was you can actually go back to your stuff and add it to him. I don't remember where my avocado is. So, so technically, I guess I could, I think that one's a picture. So you can actually add it either as a page, or I guess he's an image. So if I add him as a page, oh, I don't know what happened. Yeah, it was kind of hard. I had to, I duplicated them twice, and then I had to delete one from each of them to make it into one video. I don't really remember what I did.
What are we going to do today?
Okay, I don't know what happened to, did I delete him by accident? Oh, nope, he's right here.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. And Joanna, just because I think it can sometimes be overwhelming, or people think that they have to be an expert in the tool in order to show it to their kids. But if I remember last year, kind of we were learning alongside the kids, right? So the kids actually will like play around and they'll quickly surpass, at least for me, my students would always surpass my skill level like scarily quickly. And so I just want to reiterate that you don't have to be like an expert in every little piece of the tool in order for your kids to have a great time and learn a lot from it. So I just, Joanna, if you had anything like any advice on like when's the best time to use this, or whether you think people need to practice before, what would your advice be?
It's actually, it works just as well if you don't know how to do it and you're learning with the students, because then they'll be like, oh, I don't have to be perfect because I was literally learning along with them. So yeah, but if you feel like you want to be like, at least know a little bit, you can always play around with it before you start your lesson. Yeah.
And you, Joanna, you actually didn't even know about the kind of new version of the tool until last week. So all this that you
Yeah.
created was kind of like just in the past week playing around with the tool, if I understand correctly. So hopefully there's not, the goal of Express is that like students from K through 12 could kind of play around and become confident in their creative skills without, hours and hours of training or having to be in a class all about Photoshop. Instead, it's kind of, we're hoping to make creativity much more accessible to just the average student.
And then I'm going to show one more video where the students actually had no, like, it's similar to this one where they did not do anything except images. So this one is your fake panda message.
Museums could help children learn during the summer.
They also help children understand the historical value of objects, respect diverse cultures, and understand multiculturalism.
The Exploratorium teaches science, art, and human perception.
MoMath is a mathematic museum. Their math exhibits are really fun for children to play and learn.
The Children's Creativity Museum helps children build their creativity.
The Museum of Craft and Design examines the Bay Area arts ecosystem through the artwork and stories of 23 Bay Area artists.
The Academy of Science teaches exploring, explaining, and sustaining life on Earth.
So if you can see, this one was just like, just them narrating and didn't have anything else. So if you can think about it, you could actually have them do that, but now they can add one of these little creatures to represent them while they're narrating. I guess we should go back to the slide. Let's see. So if you have any questions, you can either email Jackson for technical help, or if you like need ideas, or like if you forgot how to do something, you can email me at ctoj@sfusd.edu. And then this is for feedback, and if you have any questions, you can also type it in the chat now, and I'll see if I can answer them.
Perfect. Let me, I'll drop that bit.ly link into the chat too. Let me just type it out. And this has been great, Joanna. What's your plan for this school year? Are you gonna do the Newberry movies again?
Yeah, so one thing I do is I do a whole class Newberry movie first before I have the students actually break into small groups to make their smaller movies, because I I tried doing the smaller movies first and they were all lost. So because we did the whole class one first, they kind of knew, oh, this is how we're going about making it. So the whole class movie was more like the we do together, and then their small group movies, they grouped, and then I kind of provided help as they needed it. But we're gonna definitely do one whole group movie first. How do you get to the animated? Let me see if I can find it.
And Joanna, while you get back to show them how to get to the animate from audio, Bill had a question about working on iOS. So right now there's a little bit, well, there'll be a little bit more of a delay in the beta going to the iPad app. So you should, so it's best to use like a desktop or like a Chromebook. So anything with internet connection that's not just app based, it should be live when we launch the rollover to the new Express. It will work on all of those browsers, but if you're trying to use the iPad, that will come just a little bit later. So the recommendation is to you can certainly film on an iPad and upload those films to edit them on a Chromebook or a Mac or whatever laptop you're using. But in terms of kind of creating the video all within the iPad, that will just take us a little bit longer to get released. So hopefully that answers your question, Bill.
Okay, so the animate from audio is you can go to the homepage and scroll down right here under suggested quick actions.
And while we're here, those quick actions have been like lifesavers for me in the past. So as I said, I used to teach history, so I was always finding like historical documents online that I wanted my kids to read, but they were often in PDF format. And I didn't want the kids to read like a 20-page manifesto in Old English. So I needed to come in here and I would use this edit PDF quick action to edit my PDF and make sure I was highlighting kind of the sections I wanted them to read, or I would add little vocab hints to the PDF. So that's a huge time saver. Generating QR codes are super fun for like back to school night. I would have a QR code with a survey for parents. And the parents could just like scan the QR code and they'd link to my Google survey. So so a bunch of cool stuff in those quick actions that, aren't the focus of today's session, but I think are worth a quick scan when you're logged in, because there might be something there that could save you a bunch of time.
So someone asked whether it's okay to share my slides. You're free to share my slides. I think there's only one thing on there that I only share it within SF Unified because it has all the student information, and I'm not sure which ones might not have been signed for release. So when I put it on my thing, it's for some of it is for using within teaching. So I don't necessarily put it on YouTube as public. So that might be the only one that might just be shared for SF Unified. There's a question that I can't answer, but Jackson might be able to. It's after creating the slides and voiceover, how do you create video with transitions?
Oh, that's a great question. I just saw an email come through last night, actually, that they had beefed up the transition game. So if you go to video really quickly, Joanna, and if you guys need to drop, I don't want to hold everyone past the hour, but if you go to just any video and you hit the show layer timing on the bottom and hit like add a scene, or add maybe one of these templates, Joanna, with the any of the templates on the left, just select maybe the tennis ball one. Yeah, so you can actually add, oh, I think that, there we go. So if you add like a graphic or something, so maybe hit elements and and you can add a transition here. So click that, Joanna. This is actually brand new to me, so I'm learning on the fly with you because I think we released that yesterday. So
Oh,
here it looks like they're building out more options for sure, but here's a transition that will kind of like dissolve the previous scene and launch into the new one. So there's more to come on that. As I mentioned, I've never seen this before, so I'm really excited. And thank you for your kind of patience as we continue to make this as powerful of a tool as we can with all the bells and whistles to come. And the last thing I'll say before we let you break for lunch is when you're accessing with students, I know in Joanna's class and every SFUSD class I've been with, they usually go through Clever to get into the tool. So just making a plug because my focus with all of my districts is making sure kids are spending time creating and not logging in. So highly recommend Clever. There's also a Google Classroom add-on where you can push them templates straight from Google Classroom. That wasn't working last year, but the district has now, set it up and we're good to go from our testing. So if you're having any issues with just getting your kids in or using the tool, feel free to contact me, and we're looking forward to supporting you guys through a great school year. And thank you so much, Joanna. Great session.
okay, thank you. So last two questions I'm going to answer. Somebody asked whether it's better for small groups. Obviously, the smaller the group, the more work the student will actually get out of it, versus if you do whole class, obviously, some of the students will have less to do. So that's why I actually do a whole class one, and then I break them up into smaller groups. And then the last question was, is Adobe, do students access their own individual accounts, or will there be a teacher account? So teachers have their own accounts and students have their own accounts. Is that correct?
Sorry, what was the question again? I was answering another question.
Oh, sorry, the question was, do students access their own individual accounts, or will there be a teacher account that they can use? So technically, in my, at least how I think of it, is teachers have their own accounts and students have their own accounts.
Yeah, everybody has their own account, and right now it's like the same account. So there's no real difference between what the teacher account looks like and what a student account looks like. There are some fun things to come where you can actually like monitor student work and you have a teacher with a classroom. That's all like to come very soon. But for now, the way I think about it is just everyone has their own account and they can all work within their own unique account. They all save their projects to their account, and there's no big difference between what the teacher sees and what the student sees, which makes it, kind of easy to help guide students because their account looks just like yours.
And then you can collaborate on projects.
So if you hit the share button at the top, you can add, say Ms. Seto and I wanted to work on a project together. She can add me. Oh, I think it's, you can add a collaborator there and invite me to edit. So if you have a small group working, they can invite each other and all be working on the same project, which can be a little chaotic, but usually what I do is each person's assigned like a scene so that they're not all trying to edit the same area at once. Or you can have them kind of edit their scenes separately and then share with each other, and they can combine the video all together after the fact. That way they're kind of working independently at first on their scene and then they merge them all together.
Yeah, she is ugly.
And then we probably should let you all go for your lunch break. Okay,
Yeah,
I
so
hope everyone
thank you so
had
much.
learned a lot.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jackson, for helping.
That was great. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Good job, Jenna. You're amazing.
So if I need help, you can come join me again.
I owe you one. Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.